Today we are going to learn about the accuracy and precision in measurement. So both these words, accuracy and precision, are very important in metrology. So let us discuss this in detail. So what is accuracy? So accuracy is a term which is related to the true value of a dimension. So every dimension, every measurement will have a one true value which is called as a correct value. So accuracy means how close you are to the actual value. So it is, you can say, it accuracy can be defined in terms of error. So error is nothing but it is the difference between the measured value and the true value into 100, if you want it in percentage. So as per the definition, it is the difference between the measured value and the true value. So in order to define the accuracy, only one reading is sufficient. It depends on the person who is carrying out the measurement. Whereas as far as the precision is concerned, precision is not related with the true value, but it is related with the relation between the different readings. So if you want to define the precision, more than one readings are necessary. So precision is nothing but if there are, say, 10 readings have been taken, or 10 measurements have been taken for say for any dimension. Suppose you are supposed to you have been given the task to measure the diameter of a component. So and you have taken 10 readings for that particular measurement. So precision tells the relation among these 10 readings. For example, whether these 10 readings are close to each other. If they are close to each other, then you can say that these readings are precise. If these readings are not close to one another, they are not precise. The measurement is not precise. Precision has nothing to do with the accuracy. So it depends upon the measuring tools, and as shown here, it is determined by the number of significant digits. So again, in simple words, again it is defined. Accuracy is defined as the agreement of the result, means measurement you have taken, agreement of the result of the measurement with the true value of the measured quantity. Okay. Whereas the precision is nothing but it is the repeatability of the measuring process, means if you repeat a certain measurement, then every time the result should be same, or it should be close to the previous values. So in short, it measures the repeatability of the measuring process. Now one simple sketch is in front of you, where you can see 4 sketches are shown, 4 circles are shown, and in each circle now there are various possibilities with respect to the measurements. Means if you combine these two words, that is accuracy and precision, you can see there is a possibility that the measurement can be accurate but it may not be precise. The measurement can be precise but it may not be accurate. The measurement cannot be precise, cannot be accurate. Likewise, there are 4 possibilities are there, and these 4 possibilities are shown with the help of this simple sketch. So So as you can see, this is a one in this sketch. Your there are three circles are shown. So the central circle shows your target value or your true value, means your true value or the actual dimension, true dimension of the measurement is nothing but the central circle. So it is expected that your measurement is in this region, inside this central circle. If the measurement is in this under say uh, in this circle, then your dimension is a true dimension. Your dimension is accurate dimension. If it is outside the this circle, then it is not accurate. Okay, so let us see the various possibilities. So you can see the figure A, in which whatever measurements are taken, so there are 6 measurements are there, as you can 7 measurements are there, and all 7 measurements are outside this central circle. That's why the measurements are not accurate. But if you observe the closeness of these readings, all these readings or all these measurements are close to one another, very close to one another, isn't it? That's why you can say that even though readings are not accurate, but all the readings are close to one another. That's why the process is, or the measurement is precise. The measurement is precise, but it is not accurate since it is outside the circle. So this is the interpretation of figure A. Now let us move toward the another sketch, that is the figure B. In this figure B, if you observe that most of the readings, what we can say, most of the readings are inside the circle. Even the average, if you take the average of this total measurement, then you can say that that average is close to the true value. That's why what you can say that the measurement process is accurate, even though some of the readings are away from the central circle, but the quantity of such readings is less as compared to the quantity of the measurements which are inside the circle. That's why the process is accurate, but it is not precise, because all the readings are not close to another. Very few readings are close to one another, but all the readings are not close to one another. That's why the process is not precise. As you compare this sketch with this, here all the readings are close to one another, but that is not the case here. That's why the process is accurate, but it is not precise. Then third sketch, you can see the figure C. So if you compare this figure C with previous two sketches, then you can see that here all the readings, okay, only one reading is inside the circle. That's why if you take the average of such readings also, or average of such measurements also, you can see that that average is far away from the true value. That's why you can say that the measurements are not accurate, as well as all these readings are not close to one another also. They are spread or they are scattered everywhere. That's why you can say that the process is not precise also. So here both the conditions are not satisfied. That's why you can say that figure C represents that the process is not accurate, as well as it is not precise also. Then fourth case, that is figure D, which is the most desirable condition, or you can say it is ideal conditions, in which, as you can see, all the 7 readings are inside the circle, as well as they are close to one another. That's why here both the conditions are satisfied, so it is called as the process is precise as well as accurate. See, most of the times this question is asked at the time of the oral examination, where you are supposed to explain the concept of the accuracy and precision with the help of these definitions and with the help of these four sketches. Okay, so in first sketch the process is precise but it is not accurate. Second, the process is accurate but it is not precise. Third case, the process is not precise and not accurate. In the figure D, as you can see, the process is precise as well as accurate. uh, so many times apart from this question, uh, in the examination, the difference between precision and accuracy is asked. So in this case you are supposed to write minimum 4 points of differentiation. So as you can see, on the left side there is a precision, on the right side there is accuracy. So first, in the first point you can write the definition. So as we have seen the definition. So precision, what is a precision? It is a repeatability of the measuring process, so that point can be written. Whereas accuracy is the agreement of the result of measurement with the true value. So what you are doing, you are comparing the true value with the measured value and you are checking the difference between these two values. That difference should be very less. Then and then only you can say that the process is accurate. Then second point is related with the number of dimensions that are required to define the precision and accuracy. So precision is related with the set of measurements, means you cannot define precision with the help of only one reading. Okay, more than one readings are required to define the precision, whereas accuracy can be defined with the help of single measurement also. Okay, then third point is, in precision bias error is not considered. In precision bias error is not considered. So in the previous lecture we have seen this bias error means being prejudiced. Okay, giving the result in somebody's favor. So precision, in precision this error is not considered, bias error is not considered, whereas in accuracy bias error is addressed. Okay, so that is point number 3. Fourth, process may be precise but may not be accurate. Same is related to the accuracy. Process may be accurate but it may not be precise. So these things we have seen. Now if you compare the precision and accuracy on the basis of its easiness and cost effectiveness, so it is easier and cheaper to achieve the precision. It is easier and cheaper to achieve the precision, whereas accuracy is difficult to achieve, and that's why it is costlier process. So more the accuracy, more is the cost. That is a basic principle in manufacturing. You always remember that principle. Then there is a less effect of measurement standard on the precision. So precision has very less relation with the what kind of standard you are using, whereas accuracy, there is a more effect of measurement standard on the accuracy. So what you can say is, one example can be taken, means where precision is sufficient and where accuracy and precision both are required. Suppose you can take one example. Suppose you are a manufacturer of one of the, say, any mechanical component, and uh, uh, you are as I told you, you are manufacturer of some mechanical components, and there are two possibilities are there. You are manufacturing a component at your end, and you are sending those components to other, say, industry for assembly purpose. This happens many times, isn't it? So manufacturing takes place at one facility and assembly takes place at other facility. So this happens many times. So in this situation where manufacturing is at one end, one facility, and assembly is at other facility, in that case accuracy and precision both are required. Accuracy and precision must be achieved. Whereas I have told you another possibility. What is another possibility? In another possibility, the manufacturing takes place at at manufacturing and assembly, both activities take place at same facility, where same kind of measuring instruments are used. So in such case, it is not necessary that your instrument is accurate, but it should be precise, because whenever even if your measuring instrument is having some kind of error, so same kind of error is repeated everywhere, so that error can be compensated if the both the activities are taking place at one facility. So this is one example of precision and accuracy. So now moving further, that is a classification of errors. So this is one more concept in this chapter, that is various types of errors, and means types of errors and the sources of errors. There can be two different questions based on this say concept, that is what are the different types of the errors and what are the sources of the errors. So let us see this one by one. So there are three types of the errors, that is gross errors, systematic errors, and random errors. So first, what is a gross error? So gross errors are the errors that those errors are basically due to the human mistakes. Many times mistakes are committed by the humans. So errors related to these human, these are defined as a gross error. So let us see one by one again. So what kind of mistakes can be done by human? So we have already seen the basic elements of the measuring systems. So first error or first mistake that can be committed by the say person or human is using the wrong instruments. Suppose you are you are required to use vernier caliper for taking the dimension or the diameter of a shaft. So you are supposed to use this vernier caliper as your measuring instrument, but instead of using the vernier caliper as the measuring instrument, you have used the scale, or you have used the outside spring caliper. So here you have used the wrong instrument, and that's why you may get the error. That is the example number one. Then second example, faulty setting of the instruments. In many cases, before using the instruments, there are indirect measuring type of the instruments are there, where some kind of manipulation or some kind of setting is required to be done before carrying out the actual dimensions. For example, if you want to measure the angle of a tapered object. So in that case, sine bar and sine center, these instruments are used, but they cannot be used directly. You have to use these instruments in conjunction with the dial gauge and slip gauges. So you means in short, you have to do the setting of the instrument, and if this setting is not done properly, then there is a possibility of getting the error. Then third error that can be committed is a mistakes in a reading or recording. So suppose even if you take the reading with correct instrument, you have set the instrument properly, but there is a possibility that you may read the reading wrongly. You may read the measurement wrongly, or you even if you read the measurement correctly, there is a possibility that you are not recording or you are not writing it properly. Okay, so that mistake can be committed by the human. Then mistakes in applying correction. So this many times this can happen, that is, you may commit the mistake in applying corrections. So in some cases your instrument is having some kind of error, but having error in the instrument doesn't mean that that instrument is of no use. You can use the instrument if you apply the correction factor. Okay, so this happens you can take the example in example of taking the measurement with the help of the this vernier caliper. So vernier there is one kind of error that is called as a zero error in case of the vernier caliper. So when two jaws of the vernier caliper are closed or they are attached to one another, the reading of the vernier should be 0, but sometimes that reading is not shown as 0. It shows some different value. So what is that different value? That different value you have to note, and that is considered as a error, and that error you have to adjust in your final reading. So whatever is that 0 error, that has to be either add in your final reading, or that has to be reduced from your final reading. So that mistake, there is a possibility of committing that kind of mistake whenever you are applying the correction. So ideally, suppose you take example of vernier caliper wherein 0 positive error is there. So you are supposed to reduce that particular error from your final reading, and by mistake, instead of reducing that error from your final reading, you have added that can happen. So this is the fourth type of the error that can be committed. Fifth is a wrong computation. So it is nothing but you can commit the mistake while doing the computation or mathematical calculations. So in many instruments, in indirect type measuring instruments, there is a possibility that you can make wrong computation. Now such errors cannot be treated mathematically, they can be avoided. How to? Now these are we come to know what are the sources of these errors, and obviously in order to avoid these gross errors, you have to take some corrective actions. So what corrective actions can be taken? So the only thing is that you can avoid these errors by taking care in reading and recording the measurement data. You have to use the correct instruments, you have to set the instrument correctly, you have to apply the correction properly. then by taking this type of the care, gross errors can be avoided. Then systematic error. So as the name indicates, the systematic errors are the errors which have definite magnitude and direction, as well as these errors are going to repeat every time you take the reading. These type of the readings are going this type of the errors are going to repeat every time they are going to you are going to take the measurement. So there is one kind of still one kind of error is there, that is a random error. Many times the difference is asked between systematic error and random error. So as per the definition, systematic error has a definite magnitude, means every time you take the measurement, that magnitude is going to be some finite value is going to be there, and that is going to be somewhat say near there. This error is going to be you can say close to the previous value. Okay, and its direction is also going to be say definite, means it will every time it will show you either positive, it will show positive error, or every time it will show you negative error. For example, you have been given the task to measure the diameter of a shaft. So in systematic error, if suppose the true value is 50 mm, and if you take the measurement with the vernier caliper, the dimension is shown as you have take say 3 to 4 readings you have taken, and every time the reading is shown as 50.1, 50.15, 50.3, 50.2. So if you observe these readings right from 50.1 to 50.3, all these readings are more than 50. So the error is in one direction only. So all the readings are greater than 50 mm. So their magnitude means there is a positive error is there, isn't it? So that positive error, so magnitude so direction is positive, its magnitude is also somewhat same, it is between 0.1 to 0.3. okay, so it is not varying too much, which happens in case of the random error, and it is going to repeat every time. Okay, so this kind of error is going to repeat every time. That is the characteristic of systematic error. Now how to eliminate these errors. So these errors are not eliminated by the taking multiple readings, but what you have to do, if you want to have control over these systematic errors, you have to take the readings at different times with different instruments and under different conditions. So all these three variables are going to contribute towards the systematic error. That's why you have to take the measurements, or you have to take the readings at different times, okay, with different instruments and under different conditions. Let us again take the example of measurement of the diameter by measurement of the diameter of a shaft using vernier caliper. So suppose you have been given the task to find out whether there is a systematic error is there in particular type of the measurement. So what you are going to do, the situation is like this: you have 10 say supervisors are with you, or 10 people are with you who can take the readings. You have 10 vernier calipers. So what you are going to do, you are going to take the 10 readings, but these readings are not taken at same time. Some of the readings are taken in the morning time, say 10 a.m. Some readings are taken at afternoon time, say 2 p.m. Some readings are taken at the say in the evening, say at 6 p.m. So the readings are taken at different time, because we know that the temperature, the environmental conditions can be different at different times. So we have to check whether the environmental condition has any effect on your system. So that is the purpose of taking the readings at different times. Second, with different instruments. As you can see, different instruments mean you have to take the readings with vernier calipers only. So those are 10 different vernier calipers are referred as a 10 different instruments, because as we have seen, each instrument can have its own error. So we have to check whether uh, whether the whatever error is being introduced, that is whether it is due to the instrument only. So that exercise has to be done. So take the 10 readings with 10 different instruments and under different conditions. So you can take the readings under different conditions, so that can be taken. So by compiling all the data, you can try to find out whether the error is a systematic error or whether it is a random error. Then in systematic errors, again going forward, instrument errors are there. So instrument errors means what? Instrument errors are the errors which are due to the faulty design of the instrument. The means error you are getting because of the inherent faulty design of the instrument. The design is not proper, that's why instrument is giving the error. Then there may be too much friction among the various parts, or there is a too much clearance between the moving elements or mating parts, non-uniform division of the scale, assembly errors like incorrect fitting of the parts, zero error, bent, distorted pointer. All these things may be there, due to which you can get the instrument error. Then second is a misuse. Misuse is nothing but the poor maintenance. Many times maintenance is not carried out properly, that's why the error is introduced in the instrument. Then wear of the parts due to excessive use. So there is a possibility that the mechanical parts get worn out due to excessive use, and you have not replaced those worn out parts, so that might have introduced the error. Then lack of the calibration. So calibration is very important part. So instruments have to be calibrated frequently, so that you get assured of your measurement. Then loosening of joints. Some of the joints of the instruments may got loosened, that's why the error is introduced. So we have just seen the different errors. Now how to remove these errors? So you can remove these errors or avoid these errors by selecting the suitable instrument, applying the correction factor, and you can have the proper maintenance of the instrument. Then environmental errors, that also come under the systematic error. That is environmental errors means error in calculation due to the pressure, effect of the pressure, temperature, humidity, etc., etc., dust, vibration, that also has to be considered. So typical examples of this type of errors are change in the dimension due to change in temperature, pressure variation, radiation effect when an instrument is placed too close to an opening, change in velocity pattern when the instrument is placed close to a fitting, etc. So these errors, environmental errors, can be reduced by how to reduce the errors. So using the instrument under environmental conditions in which it was calibrated. So try to use the instrument in the conditions in which which conditions were used during the calibration. Then second, recalibrate in the existing environmental conditions. Third, you can avoid the environmental errors by providing suitable shields for the instrument parts. So what you can do, you can protect your instrument against this say high temperature, high pressure, low pressure. So you should provide the shields, seal the exposed leads, etc., providing the compensating devices against the environmental effect. This can also be done. Suppose it is not possible to avoid the errors due to the environmental effects. It is difficult to say avoid these errors. So in that case, what we can do, we can anticipate the environmental error and we can provide the compensating devices. So these devices will nullify the effect of the environmental condition that can be taken place. Then operational errors. So what are these operational errors? Operational errors are the errors which are caused by the misuse of the instruments and by the poor operational techniques. Okay, so some of the examples are errors caused by the improper immersion of the bulb of the thermometer in the medium whose temperature is to be measured. This can be the error. Then measurement of the flow by placing the flow meter close to a wall, joint or bend. So if you want to measure the velocity of a flow, so we are going to measure that velocity with the help of the flow meter, but you have to take care that you are not placing the flow meter close to a wall or close to a joint or close to a bend, because in these sections, means near the wall, near the joint, near the bend, there the flow of the fluid is going to be turbulent, isn't it? That's why you are not going to get the correct value of your measurement. So you have to take care. These errors can be eliminated by the proper use of the instruments and take care in making the instrument. Then system interaction error. So system interaction errors are the errors that occur due to interaction between instrument used for measurement and the component whose parameter is to be measured. For example, you can take the example of say a rubber part is there and you want to measure say a diameter of a rubber bush. So and the instrument given to you is a vernier caliper. So whenever you are trying to measure the diameter of that rubber bush, what you are going to do, you are going to hold that component between the anvils of the vernier and you are going to apply the pressure over the surface of the rubber bush and you are going to take the reading. But there is a possibility that you may apply too much pressure on the surfaces of this rubber bush, and since the rubber bush is elastic, it may get bent and it is possibility that you may get a wrong reading. So that care has to be taken. You have to make sure that you are not applying too much pressure while taking the measurement. So that care you have to taken. So that comes under the system interaction error. Then there is a random error. So first was the gross error, systematic error. Systematic error we have seen in detail. Then random errors, again as per the name, the errors are random. Errors are random means what? these are the accidental errors that are going to vary in magnitude as well as in direction in unpredictable manner. You can directly compare this type of the error with the systematic error. These errors, random errors, are accidental. They are going to vary in magnitude. Means sometimes this error can be small in magnitude, sometimes it can be large in magnitude. Okay, whereas they can vary in direction also. Direction means what? Sometimes this error can be positive, sometimes this error can be negative, and it is very difficult to predict this type of the error. For example, errors due to the variation in power supply, errors due to the vibrations, errors due to the hysteresis, backlash in measurement, backlash in instrument, elastic deformation of the parts. So all these are the sources of the random errors. So how to take care of such errors in during your measurements? So random errors can generally follow the laws of the probability, and these, if you want to reduce these errors, you have to use the statistical analysis you have to do the statistical analysis of your data by increasing the number of observation, and the measurements can be judged more precisely. So what you have to do, you have to apply the laws of the probability to consider the uncertainty. You 100%, nobody can predict the random error 100%. It is based on the probability itself. Okay, so uh, so we'll stop here. In the next lecture we are going to see the sources of the errors.